Boom! What's up, Amelia? Dayspring here to talk about Free Comic Book Day for Uncanny Avengers because we got Captain Krakoa's return, and boy, man, no one saw that coming.
Polaris in the comic books recently is depicted with her coffee. Like, what is your ideal morning coffee situation?
When I do drink coffee, it's a black coffee hot with one Splenda. And I believe that's also what Lorna would drink in real life.
That's Daddy Cable.
Daddy Cable. I would love that. I would love it.
Shout out to the Powers of X-Men podcast.
Hottest writers at Marvel Comics right now.
The Pretender's death, like be.
Right, familia, Power of X-Men, we're with. Do you love Power of X-Men?
I love Power of X-Men. Of course I do. Do I? Yes, I do.
Welcome to the Power of X-Men podcast YouTube channel. Please hit that subscribe button, rate and review this video. Be kind, please. I am coming to you live from New York City at Mini Minutes HQ. Pedro's been so kind to let me stay in his place for a few days. I'm commuting back and forth between New York and Miami. It's my peak auction season, and I'm still trying to find a loft here, but I'm doing some renovations, so I'm trying to save some money while. So today we had Captain Krakoa return to the comic books in Uncanny Avengers issue 1 for Free Comic Book Day. And we don't know who it is. A shadowy figure, a man entering the X-Men's treehouse in Central Park and wanting to come after the Captain Krakoa costume. Cyclops in his Jim Lee outfit puts up a good fight, but is sadly defeated by him. We know this person is working for Orcus. We know he is a human, and we know he has a vendetta against the mutants. He does have a line about God forgiving him, and then he goes over to the U.S. Capitol where he totally bombs this group of politicians who are meeting to discuss the Krakoans. So we're kind of left with a big question mark of who could Captain Krakoa be, causing all this mayhem and havoc. How is he going to play a role in the Unity Squad? Do people know who he is? Cyclops did not recognize him, but just because Cyclops doesn't recognize him doesn't mean it's a character we haven't seen before. And that's what we're going to discuss in today's video. Who is Captain Krakoa? Now, there's a lot of guesses out there. We kind of talked about it on Instagram. I have my theories. I've kind of assembled a top 5 list, of who he could be. I haven't gotten any tea on who he could possibly be, so I am just shooting in the dark here as well. But I do think it's a character we've seen before, and I think I said this on Instagram. If he's a character we haven't seen before, if this is just a new character created by Orcus, just some random NPC in the Marvel universe, and he's just supposed to be symbolic of human hate for the X-Men, then I would say, why not just show his face? That makes zero sense to me that you wouldn't just show his face and just be like, I'm just some random guy who hates you mutants, and I'm taking this Captain Krakoa costume. So I'm traveling on the assumption that this is a character we've seen before, and we're going to deliver our top 5 guesses. All right, so here's the criteria we're working with. He has a vendetta against the mutants. Destiny said it was a soldier returning to the field. He has gray hair, is a man of faith. Cyclops did not recognize him, and is a human. So let's see who our top 5 suspects on who Captain Krakoa is. Number 5 is Mystique. When I first saw the image to Uncanny Avengers number 1 with everyone there, I thought, okay, it's obviously not going to be Cyclops again. If they're going to keep Captain Krakoa's identity a secret, what would be a really great misdirect? And I thought, oh, it's going to be Mystique. It has to be Mystique. Mystique just taking on a male form and being Captain Krakoa. That would be absolutely genius. I will say, I think this theory now, after reading the issue today, is a bit more complicated given that Irene was the one who sensed that there was someone on the field. You'd have to be working a lot with timing, a lot of misdirect to the readers. I say this with a lot of love. I don't know if that much thought was put into it. I would love if that much time was put into it, because again, it would be wonderful if earlier in the night, Irene had sensed someone being on the field and she notified Mystique. They go through the gate. Mystique takes on the form of a man with gray hair, gets into the X-Men's treehouse, is able to get the Captain Krakoa suit. That's how we knew it was there. Fights Cyclops, is Captain Krakoa now, because she is being a double agent at large with everything trying to reconstitute Krakoa after the Hellfire Gala, right? But let's just see. It all depends on what happens at the Hellfire Gala, right? I think it's going to be a Red Wedding massacre. That's what everything seems to indicate, that once the Hellfire Gala is done, there's going to be the Fall of X era. Characters are going to be out on their own, like Iceman and Shadowcat. Madeline is going to be leading Dark X-Men in a world that needs the X-Men. So we know the X-Men, their current iteration, is not going to last. Let's see what they do. I think Mystique is playing a long game here along with Destiny. So let's see. Number 4 is Creed. Now, Graydon Creed obviously has been dead for a while. It was revealed in X-Men Forever Volume 1 that Mystique was the one who killed her own son. And even though he's appeared here and there, especially in Second Coming, he's been largely MIA. So it would be interesting if Orcus resurrected him and set him loose against the Krakoans. It doesn't explain why Cyclops didn't recognize him, but maybe it was very dark, it was very shadowy, and he couldn't really recognize him. We know that Creed is a symbol for mutant hate. His parents are Mystique and Sabretooth. He's very self-loathing as a result. He has so many ties to Mystique, to Rogue, to Creed, to Kurt, and now Destiny. I think this would make perfect drama if they were able to make it work if it was Creed. Okay, so that was our 5th and 4th choices. I'm going to admit to you, I thought those were a bit weak because I wanted to make this a top 5 list. And I wanted to cover all of our grounds because, listen, no shade. No shade on the Krakoan era, but some of the stories haven't been the best. And sometimes you're kind of like scratching your head. You're like, well, I guess I underthought this or I overthought this. So I wanted to make sure we cover all of our grounds. I wanted to make sure that we had a misdirect. We had something that was very familial and drama focused. I would love for it to be Creed. I would love for it to be Mystique. I think those would be really good curveballs, especially bringing someone like Creed back when Irene and Raven are having their big moments and Rogue is going to be on the Unity squad. Please throw Creed in there and cause some shit. Have Mystique be on the Unity squad as Captain Krakoa, and no one absolutely was able to realize that. I would absolutely love that. So our number 3 choice here is gonna be Carl Denty, aka Executioner, who is an iconic X-Men villain from the 90s. He's gone toe-to-toe with Cable, Cyclops, Rogue, Captain Kate, Storm, and most importantly, Nate. He has access to all the X-Men villain and alien equipment. In his recent Marauders appearance, he said, "Why do you mutants think you can get away with everything and leaving a trail of human bodies in your wake?" He's always been a character that's been masked, so it's possible that Cyclops just didn't recognize him. He has a huge vendetta against mutants. He checks out all the boxes there. I also think this is probably a long shot because I think if you're going to have Captain Krakoa on your team and it's going to be unveiled to be a bad guy, it's going to have to be someone big. But the fact that he had inside information on the U.S. meeting that was happening at the Capitol with the politicians would suggest it'd have to be someone with strong government ties. And we know Carl Denty used to work for the FBI. Number 2 is going to be Bastion. Created by Scott Lobdell, the human sentinel hybrid has been terrorizing the X-Men since the 90s with Operation Zero Tolerance and played a major role in Second Coming when he was coming after Hope. We last saw him in X-Men Blue number 28 when battling against Zorn and dying at his hands. Listen, Bastion makes perfect sense to me. He can be back in a different form, in a different body. He has strong ties to Hope. He wanted to destroy her, and he even said it at the end of Second Coming. He's here like, no, Hope. The mutant race ends here with you. He has ties to Nimrod, and Nimrod is obviously a growing threat. So think of the drama and the plot potential of having someone like Bastion on the Avengers Unity Squad masquerading as Captain Krakoa, you know, a symbol of the Krakoan society, everything the Krakoan society has to offer, but it's actually a wolf in sheep's clothing, someone who's closely tied to Nimrod and Orcus. I think it would be absolutely wonderful if it was him. But Familia, our number one choice is, drumroll please, Reverend Striker. First appearing in God Loves, Man Kills, Reverend Striker has become a symbol of anti-mutant rhetoric. After the mutant decimation, he blew up a bus full of depowered mutants. He is such an atrocious human being. Orcus could have empowered him with some kind of super soldier serum and set him loose on the mutants. He infiltrated the treehouse, burned it to a crisp, right? And it's a lot because of the text. It says, he knows that mutants are an invasive species that must be ripped from the earth. He hopes the terrible things he must do will be forgiven by God someday. And, you know, he goes in, he fights Cyclops, he grabs Cyclops by the foot, puts him over his head, and throws him off of the Krakoan treehouse in New York City and lights it on fire and leaves. He has strong military ties, so that's probably why he knew those politicians were meeting in DC, and he knew exactly how to strike. And I think coming into the Avengers Unity Squad, this is literally his thing. He is a televangelist. He knows how to make a scene. He knows how to get media attention. He's going to be right there front and center in the Avengers Unity Squad, causing trouble for the mutants, not only on the back end by sabotaging everything, but also with the media and public facing. So who do you think Captain Krakoa is? Hit us up at Power of X-Men on Instagram. You can try Twitter, depending on the day. I'm on Twitter or I'm not. But leave your comments there. And again, please rate and review this video.